there was one question. Are we doing a crime thriller? What is our purpose? To know another detective story. At the same time, you are very conscious that it should not be hero story, not Superman story. Instead of state gathering evidence, the lawyer becoming an investigator. Today, Ambedkar can't be ignored. Ambedkar says, educate, learn, educate, agitate. That too a bigger banner and a good actor can bring a great change which establishes that the art is not art's sake, art is for a people's sake. Nobody knows him. But if you go in Ranchi airport, you see Birsa Munda airport. So a tribal leader's name is now in there. Even people who are flying or affluent has to ask, who is this Birsa Munda? When Congress won power from the British, when they wrote history, they also made a Congress history, not a people's history. Finally, the Sangeni's daughter is shown reading a newspaper in front of the lawyer, sitting in his house, sitting in a chair, putting one leg on the other leg, wearing a red shirt and a blue skirt. All these are symbolism. And there is Ambedkar behind. And then she reads. That young girl represents a combination of Marxwadi, Ambedkarwadi. Whatever that is available, we should work for that. If somebody is very thirsty, you give a glass of water. You don't tell him, there is a Bolai Periyar getting ready, wait. The teachers in Neyveli wanted to invite me for a meeting. So only when I went to the meeting, I met this Parvati in that meeting. It was a mere accident. 88, I was sent out of the CPM because I had disagreement with the Indo-Sri Lankan agreement. So once I was expelled, I became a public property. Even for this girl, that you will see Surya buying some dress and all that. I had bought a dress for that girl also. I was undoubtedly the unquestionable leader of the lawyers. When I entered the college, I was looking for a serious political option, and DMK did not have the option. I was looking for a leftist ideology for two reasons. So my entry into CPM, not through SFI, I decided to join CPM. The answer to this question goes back to 1970, when EMS was Chief Minister in Kerala. 1st February 1976, when Karnanidhi government was dismissed by Mrs. Gandhi. So I was asked to accompany E.K. Nayanar and Balanandan to Kerala. So my first case was the Misa detainees in Madras were beaten up in jail, and there was an inquiry commission by Justice Ismail. I participated in the commission. After some time, I decided that this is counterproductive. When poor man's case coming, you close the court and say strike. Somebody asked me, did you jump over the barricade? I said, I can even jump over a wall. Like that children playing in the court. No court will allow. In my court I used to allow. So some tribes are made as a criminal tribe. If you are a part of the criminal tribe, every crime is committed by you only. And your names will be kept in the station. And when a crime takes place, all the criminal tribes should assemble in the station courtyard. The man who is missing is a criminal. No need for documents, no need for evidence, no need for court. The circle inspector will give the punishment.
കഴിഞ്ഞ ദിവസം ആമസോൺ പ്രൈമിൽ റിലീസ് ചെയ്ത ചിത്രമാണ് ജയ് ഭീം. ജയ് ഭീമിൽ സൂര്യ അവതരിപ്പിച്ച കഥാപാത്രമായിരുന്നു അഡ്വക്കേറ്റ് ചന്ദ്രു. റിയൽ ലൈഫിലെ അഡ്വക്കേറ്റ് ചന്ദ്രു പിന്നീട് ജഡ്ജിയായി മാറിയിരുന്നു. അദ്ദേഹം ഇപ്പോൾ റിട്ടയർഡ് ആണ്. ചെന്നൈയിൽ വിശ്രമജീവിതം നയിക്കുകയാണ്. ജസ്റ്റിസ് കെ ചന്ദ്രു ആണ് ഡൂൾ ടോക്കിൽ ഇന്ന് അതിഥിയായെത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. സ്വാഗതം സർ.
നമസ്കാരം.
സർ, 25 വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് മുൻപ് സാറിൻ്റെ ഒരു പോരാട്ടം, പാർവതിയുടെ പോരാട്ടം, അതിപ്പോൾ സിനിമയായി വന്നിരിക്കുന്നു. 25 വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷം ഈ സിനിമയായി വരികയാണ്. സോ ലോകം മുഴുവൻ ആമസോൺ പ്രൈമിലൂടെ ആ പടം കണ്ടു കഴിഞ്ഞു. ആളുകൾ ആ പോരാട്ടത്തിനെക്കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കുന്നു, സാറിനെ കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കുന്നു, പാർവതിയെക്കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കുന്നു, രാജാക്കണ്ണിന് നേരെ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുള്ള പോലീസ് അട്രോസിറ്റിയെക്കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കുന്നു. ഹൗ ടു ഫീൽ യു ദിസ് ടൈം?
Looking back on the real incidents which took place in 28 years before, the film tries to capture the real story of Parvati. Her film name is Singeni, belonging to a Irula tribe. Now, it all looks like a fairy tale in the sense that when people who belong to tribal society, when they are oppressed by the state machinery with its full force, where do they seek justice? Does this independent India provides a judicial redressal of the worries of the common people? There are rays of hope at that time when the tribal woman Sengeni, I will use the word Sengeni because the readers or viewers also will know Sengeni, or Lijamol, when she had a problem, how did she approach me? Every tribal, will they have access to a great big lawyer? So it was a chance meeting. I went for a teachers meeting where I was addressing them. She saw me after the meeting along with some youth volunteers, and then she told me about her problem of the missing husband. At that time it was only missing husband, not the dead husband.
Okay.
So I was rushing to my bus to go to Chennai, and I told her, you come to my office in Chennai, gave my visiting card. Then she came on a weekend. Then I sat down to listen to her story. But beyond few minutes, she is not able to explain and could not say where her husband was, except saying the local police have taken him for questioning, and she was hoping that he will be let off. And she even was asked to bring food, but the food was not taken by him, the food items came back. So after 3 days, the local police came and told in her area that her husband is escaped from the lockup. So she had only this information. Escape means she asked some local lawyer, they said we will have to wait because he is escaped. He may come back, he may call you. So she was not very much satisfied. She thought something might have happened to her husband. Quickly something has to be done. So she said, I want my husband. So at that time we thought we will file a habeas corpus case, which means you produce the body. If somebody is missing, somebody is detained against the will, the court can order the police to produce that person. So when we filed that case in the High Court ordered notice to the Superintendent of Police and District Superintendent of Police, Deputy Superintendent of Police and the Inspector of the local station to answer these allegations. And police came after a few days and said that he ran away from the station, and a doctor in a nearby town certified that he took medicine from him, and a juice wala who is near the bus stand, he drank some juice, soda or something like that. So all of them said they have seen him, which means he is out of the police station.
Okay.
So here is a woman saying husband is inside the police station. Police coming and saying he has been seen outside the station, which means he is gone out. They are not responsible. The case came to a standstill because there are two diametrically opposite versions. Judges said that the purpose of habeas corpus cannot be pursued. Now he is not there, how can we ask him to come? If he is in the police custody, we can ask him to come. He is not in their custody. Then I said, that is what they are saying. What is the proof? Okay. These two statements are self-serving statements. Bring the doctor here, bring the juice wala here, we will cross-examine him. Okay. Then the judges were very surprised. They said, this is only habeas corpus, we can't record evidence, not trial court. Then I showed Rajan case in Kerala, where the Iswara warrior filed a habeas corpus. Rajan was missing from the college. Last seen in Kayangalam camp in the Malabar Special Police camp. And the police was asked to produce Rajan. And the police said the same thing, Rajan escaped. He was some Naxalite, some extra ML contact. Subramanya Poti, Justice Subramanya Poti of Kerala said, bring that man, issued a notice. They could not bring him. All the policemen were issued with a contempt notice. Okay. Then they went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court dismissed it. Then it was confirmed that Rajan was murdered by the police while torturing in the special camp. So when I showed this judgment, the judges were convinced. They said, all right, bring them, we'll examine. By the time some vacations came and there was a vacation for the court, and the bench composition got changed. To our fortune, there was a judge from Patna, another judge from Karnataka, our bench. And the Patna man, Justice P.S. Mishra, was similar to Justice Poti. So he said, I will not believe the police and I will record evidence. During this absence, during this recess of the court, we were asking, where are the nephews of Raja Khan, who was also in the lockup, who were also beaten up. Nobody had a clue that where were these two fellows. So ultimately, the location of these two individuals became important for the case because they may be the only eyewitness in the incident who can speak up. With some great difficulty, we heard that they were working as menials in Kerala because after the death of Raja Kannu by torture, these two were driven away from the station and warned by the police that they should not be seen anywhere in the vicinity. And if they spill out what happened, they will also receive the same fate as their uncle has received. So mortally afraid of their life, they went away. Not telling the home, not keeping. In those days there was no mobile phone or anything like that. And they are illiterate, they can't write letters and they are also afraid that police will come to know. But then after some search, we found them, they were in a remote village in Kerala working as menial servants. So we traced them, brought them back to Chennai, kept in my office. Their statements were recorded, produced before the court with a new bench. When the bench saw the statement, they were taken aback, shocked, because the method adopted by the police was much more barbaric, much more cannibalism. Even after the death of Raja Kannu, to find out whether he actually died, they brought a chili powder from a provision station store and put on his eyelid to know whether the eyes were shifting or not. After the death was confirmed, these two nephews were driven out. The body was sent and disposed of somewhere. When this statement was made available, the court was convinced it was a murder case, right in the lockup. Then they said, what do you want now? I said that it should be given to CBI for a full investigation. Who are the culprits and where is the body? Judges said, no CBI. There are so many CBI, nothing happens. You are 1,000 police officers are in this state. There may be one good officer. Name that man. So we gave the name of IG Perumal Sami. The movie also is called as IG Perumal Sami. Prakash Raj act on the role. They said Perumal Sami will investigate, file a report within 30 days. Then what about the victim? They gave compensation of 2.5 lakhs for the lady, 1 lakh each for the two nephews. Then I said they are all nomadic tribes going from village to village. The fact that they have no stake in the village was responsible for the torture. If they are part of the village, this could not have happened. So give them a house site so that they can live in this house. So the court gave them a house site. And later, Perumal Sami filed a report holding the police was guilty. And the body was disposed of in an inter-district border. And it was registered as a hit and run case. And his photographs were maintained in the next district police station. And the case was proved that body was disposed of and the torture was perpetrated by this policeman. Then the case was sent to the Kadalur Sessions Court. It was tried and all policemen were convicted. And finally appeal was also dismissed. So the first portion was habeas corpus, second portion was a murder trial, and both there was some justice done to the victim.
Okay. So, എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് പെരുമാൾ സ്വാമിയെ ചൂസ് ചെയ്തത് ഈ റിപ്പോർട്ട് ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നതിന് അന്വേഷിക്കുന്നതിനും?
When we are cornered with the choice of naming one officer, we also did some background checking, good officer, bad officer, with some shady record. So we found that he had not very much, therefore we named him. So we did some work to tell the court and court also agreed. So, as expected, Perumal Swamy did a good job. Within 1 month, the report was filed in the court,
Okay.
and then it was sent to the Sessions Court for trial. That's how this happened.
93-ൽ ജയലളിത സർക്കാരായിരുന്നു തമിഴ്നാട്ടിലുണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. സോ ഈ ഒരു കേസ് വന്ന സമയത്ത് സർക്കാരിൻ്റെ ഭാഗത്തു നിന്നുള്ള റെസ്പോൺസ് എങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു?
Normally, whatever the government, they always defend the police, because police is a part of the state, and without the police it's difficult for them to run. So never ever the ruling government never questions the police. Though there may be a civil control over police matters, very rarely they dispute the police stand. When the higher officers take the same stand, the department also take the same stand. Like the inspector's stand was taken by the SP.
Okay.
SP filed the case saying no, nothing happened. So when the push comes from the court, then things are different. So government always stonewalls every case. But when the turn takes place, until the nephews were found, the stand of the government was nothing like that happened. When the nephews were eyewitnesses were present and told the court these things, then they could not hide the fact. So government said, we will take whatever action court recommends. That's how the stand of the government got changed, because we gathered the evidence. Instead of state gathering evidence, the lawyer becoming an investigator. Lawyer is not only in court, we also investigate. So this is where became very significant, because lawyer had a double role, not just a lawyer but also finding facts. So in that way it was a unique case.
Okay.
He asked me, what is your memorable case? So I always used to write on this case. In 2-3 magazines it came, but in print magazine who's bothered, they read and then throw it off. It doesn't attract that kind of attention. Then I became a judge and finally retired. So we went to Neyveli for a book fair with Jnanavelu. He was also invited.
Okay.
And then on the way we discussed this story. As I was going there, I was showing them all the places, because all the places are around the Neyveli town. When I showed all these places physically and the story was narrated, he was really taken aback. He thought it may be a good story for a movie. By then he had taken one Tamil film, so he was interested in taking another film. Then he wanted to know more documentation, not my oral story. So he came to my office, collected all the documents, trial court records, high court record, judgment, then more description of the characters. When all that were perfectly matched, what I told, and then he decided this is worth exploring. So he started writing a screenplay of the story, and then when it's complete, there was one question: are we doing a crime thriller?
Okay.
What is our purpose? To know another detective story. Therefore, in this story, the lawyer played a crucial role. So he wanted to highlight the role of the lawyer, not merely the story. Then he also wanted to give the name of the lawyer, my original name. Once original name is given, you want to bring some mannerism, how I could have lived, what dress I would have done, what was my living at that time. So the story went period wise, went backwards to 1995. So 1995 story, 1995 lawyer, 1995 mannerism, dress, everything. These two was merged.
Okay.
At the same time, he was very conscious that it should not be hero story, not Superman story.
Okay.
He does everything and then brings everything that up. So he want to play a very subdued role. As any lawyer in a high court, he doesn't behave like a Superman or a Spider-Man. He has to speak very slow, low voice, subdued way of addressing, no fireworks, not like a trial court in what they show in movie. So he made dialogues in such a way that it will be reflecting what is the high court proceeding. So the high court hall was recreated. Then the third question was, what is this movie for? Is it to explore lawyer Chandru or to bring a crime story? So he wanted to see beyond that. how does these people live?
Okay.
Who is this tribal woman? Who is this Fengeni?
Okay.
Why this happened to them? So he went into the fundamental, not this case, what this community has been receiving this kind of treatment from. Where do these people live? How do they live? What they eat? So you want to bring the entire canvas, a bigger canvas, into the story through the character of Sengeni. So you want to make a story of a Urulas, their lifestyle, and then how they face torture from the police. Not this woman. The whole community faces different torture. So the movie begins with how police is treating the tribals. The movie also moves away by saying they live without patta, they live without a shelter, they have no fixed employment, they have no voting rights, they have no stake in the society. When this was shown, then the Sengeni becomes part of a larger canvas. And what happens here is also happening to several members. That is why in this case you will find the hero lawyer takes the IG to a meeting of the tribals. Each one describes the crime committed against them. So it is a representative character and not an isolated case. All right, it is a representative character. What does the community respond? There are some NGOs working among them. There are some social activists working among them. I have organized them, made a nucleus of an organization. So there is an association coming, their banner is coming, their processions are there, they have placards, they have slogans. So an individual atrocity converted into a larger society canvas, and society has now formed an organization to fight back. This he wants to show not as an individual heroism like many other stories, but a community lives, unites and rises up. And she is only a representative of the rising up. Therefore, there is a dialogue in the end. After the judgment, he tells that lady that this is not for your husband's death. Many more such persons should not die. So that is the starting point of the story, not the ending point. Finally, the Sengeni's daughter is shown reading a newspaper in front of the lawyer, sitting in his house, sitting in a chair, putting one leg on the other leg, wearing a red shirt and a blue skirt. All these are symbolism. And there is Ambedkar behind. And then she reads. What are the readings? She was not sure whether the lawyer will allow. Then he shows his head, read. And you can see the smile on the lawyer, who is always known to be a serious lawyer. He gives approval. And then what happens is important. If you see first time when Sengeni files the case, she uses only a finger to put her fingerprint, not in signature, which means from illiteracy to formal literacy. And the girl represents the future of the Urulas. And there is a smile in the face of the lawyer who now feels he has achieved something, not as an individual, had brought these people to a little higher level. Ambedkar says, educate, learn, educate, agitate. What is the meaning of that? You must educate, educated and become more empowered. So the slogan is not just providing shelter, ration card or Aadhaar card or whatever it is, but give them the education. And I think from an individual story of a crime, it conveys a lot of other meaning where the education becomes important. And that is the ending point of the story. And therefore it's a beautifully carved after a larger society, a tribal society. So the victory of this showing is seen now. Many of the people writing, we do not know such people exist, number one. That means first time they are seeing there is a tribes like this. Second time, it's shocking such things are happening. So there is a concern, there is a guilt feeling. The third question was, what do we can do now? Not as a harm, not as a grace, but we also want to participate in this process. So this is something very positive, that a film, that to a bigger banner and a good actor, can bring a great change which establishes that the art is not art's sake, art is for a people's sake, for a cause, for a purpose, and that has been very well brought out in this film.
ഓക്കെ സാർ. സാർ ഈ പടത്തിൽ ഒരു സീനിൽ സൂര്യ പറയുന്നുണ്ട് നെഹ്റു ഉണ്ട്, ഗാന്ധിജി ഉണ്ട്, പക്ഷെ ഇപ്പോഴും അംബേദ്കറിനെ കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ പറ്റിയിട്ടില്ലല്ലോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിലൊക്കെ ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ് ആഘോഷങ്ങൾ നടക്കുന്ന സമയത്തും റിപ്പബ്ലിക് ആഘോഷങ്ങൾ നടക്കുന്ന സമയത്തും ഈ അതേ അവസ്ഥ തന്നെയാണ് സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്. നെഹ്റു ഉണ്ടാവും, ഗാന്ധി ഉണ്ടാവും. സോ പലപ്പോഴും അംബേദ്കർ ഉണ്ടാവാറില്ല. അതെന്തുകൊണ്ടായിരിക്കും? ഈ സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം കിട്ടി ഇത്രയും കാലമായിട്ടും അംബേദ്കറാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഭരണഘടന എഴുതിയത്. അപ്പം അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് ഒരുപാട് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് ഉണ്ട് ഇന്ത്യൻ രാഷ്ട്രീയത്തിലടക്കം. സോ ഇപ്പോഴും അംബേദ്കർ ഈ മറക്കുന്നതിന്, അംബേദ്കറിനെ വിസ്മരിക്കുന്നതിൻ്റെ പ്രധാന കാരണം എന്തായിരിക്കും?
One thing is, when history writing is only linear,
Okay.
and it's always closer to the ruling government. There is no alternative history. Today the history writing has undergone change. You have a regional history, you have a history at the local place, what is called subaltern history. Even a local leader, today a tribal leader like Birsa Munda, Jharkhand tribal leader, nobody knows him. But if you go in Ranchi airport, you see Birsa Munda airport. So a tribal leader's name is now in the air. Even people who are flying or affluent has to ask, who is this Birsa Munda?
Okay.
Then they will know he is a Jharkhandi. He is a tribal leader. He fought against the British. He organized the tribals. Likewise, when Congress won power from the British, when they wrote history, they also made a Congress history,
Okay.
not a people's history. When Patabi Sitamaraya wrote Indian history to teach prisoners in jail, Congress prisoners, it was slanted, it was oriented, one-dimensional. Now, after so many years of independence, history writers started thinking that it is not leaders' history, it should be a people's history. And it is not few leaders who are nominal leaders, it should be leaders of cross-section. So Ambedkar's potential became very important after the death of Ambedkar. Though he was doing tremendous work as a Constitutional Assembly advisor, as a labor minister, as a Bombay minister, as a Bombay corporator, or the round table conference representative, he has been writing profusely. We have written so many writing published by Maharashtra government. How many people are reading all this? So the Ambedkar became an unchallenged leader because the scheduled caste people also woke up. They said, in your society, we were not even given importance. We were only treated as untouchable, away from the society, and we have no place. We are awareness. Therefore, the movement to bring the larger society into the fold also brought other leaders to center stage who are otherwise been ignored. Today Ambedkar can't be ignored. When you talk about national leaders, you will have to speak about Ambedkar also. That became a very important issue. Therefore, when you teach history, what are these three together do? Today, together these three, the trinity is important for three reasons. Because of the today's challenges in the society, there is a threat to socialism, the socialist concept. There is a threat to secularism. So you need symbolic representation. There is also threat to inequality. A Hindu society discriminating 1/5 of the people away from their population. So these leaders represent a distinct trend in the future history. In past they might have done so many things. For a future you need an index. And I think this film, bringing these pictures in the house of the protagonist lawyer, they are also communicating something, that even the lawyer is evolved from these teachings of these three people. So he takes the issue, and when the girl wears a red blouse or red shirt, when there are red flags in protest, it also shows the leftists. they are also a force. So there are all the forces of growth, dynamism, change factors are shown in this film in a different way. Maybe proportion may be different, but the message is very clear that it is a combination of all. That young girl represents a combination of Marxwadi, Ambedkarwadi.
പടത്തിൽ സൂര്യ ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിസ്റ്റ് ആണെന്ന് ഉറക്കെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. പലപ്പോഴും സിനിമകളിൽ ഇത്തരം കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ പാർട്ടിയുടെ പേര് മാറ്റിയിട്ടോ കൊടിയുടെ നിറം മാറ്റിയിട്ടോ ഒക്കെയാണ് കാണിക്കാറുള്ളത്. സാറും റിയൽ ലൈഫിൽ കമ്മ്യൂണിസ്റ്റ് ആണ്. സോ എങ്ങനെയാണ് സാർ ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് മാറുന്നത്?
After my school, though I was inspired by DMK because of the anti-agitation, the powerful orators, we were convinced that politics, something is there. But when I entered the college, I was looking for a serious political option, and DMK did not have the option. I was looking for a leftist ideology for two reasons. One was, in 1970s, there was a big anti-Vietnam War movement all over the world, US, UK, in India also. So we also became participant in fighting the American imperialism. So we had number of demonstrations in Chennai asking the US to withdraw from Vietnam. So that brought me to a larger international politics against imperialist countries. The second option was that there was 44 scheduled caste people were burned to death in my own district in Tanjavur.
Okay.
We could not find the answer why this happened. Is it a mere wage struggle? Will somebody kill because they are asking 25 paise more for a measure? So this led to a larger question, that why is that people can have guts to kill, burn en masse. So this really shook us, saying that we should directly participate in political movement. So my entry into CPM, not through SFI,
Okay.
I decided to join CPM, and they told me that since you are a student, you should work in the student front. So we started the Tamil Nadu Student Federation, which merged in the All India SFI, like KSF.
Okay.
We have a TNSF, and West Bengal Pradesh Congress Student Federation. Like that, all over India, there was state level federation. See, the first merger conference took place in Calcutta in 1969, and thereafter, first conference held in Tirunelveli, Chandrasekhar Nair Stadium. So I was a delegate in the conference. From then onwards, I am working for SFI. I was a city secretary, and then later went to a state level position till I finished law. During that time, I was also in the trade union movement. So I was a first delegate in Calcutta founding conference of CIT. I was a district committee member. I was also party district committee member for CPM in Chennai. So my political involvement was complete during the student days. So major struggles, major trade union struggle, major student struggles, everything I have seen. Therefore my basic education of society took place in a left movement. When I finished law, there were emergency in Tamil Nadu, all over India, but Tamil Nadu had two phases of emergency. 75 to 76, Karunanidhi was the chief minister, and he refused to arrest anybody. So all the major parties who lost their leaders in jail, they all shifted their office to Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu had more democratic functioning. So even CPM leadership was functioning from Tamil Nadu. So when 1st February 1976, when Karunanidhi government was dismissed by Mrs. Gandhi, there was total emergency in Tamil Nadu. People were arrested. So the leaders again went back to their home state. So I was asked to accompany E.K. Nayanar and Balanandan to Kerala. So on the day when DMK was dismissed, I had accompanied these people to leave them in Kerala and came back. So when I finished my law, emergency also got shifted. I decided to practice as a lawyer. I felt that when there is so much threat to human right, there is so much to do in court also. Can't boycott court.
Okay.
Though they were sectarians earlier, thinking these laws are all relevant, not relevant, nothing can be done, this judiciary is illusionary. Whatever that is available, we should work for that. If somebody is very thirsty, you give a glass of water.
Okay.
You don't tell him there is a bullet you are getting ready, wait. So it is in that sense getting a first aid for the affected people more important. So I decided to practicing as a lawyer, though my earlier idea was to become full-time worker. I was worked as a 2-year full-time worker,
Okay.
but after I became a lawyer, I started practicing. So my first case was the Misa detainees in Madras were beaten up in jail, and there was an inquiry commission by Justice Ismail. I participated in the commission as a young lawyer, and we were able to establish that there were torture and beating. And that also brought good name for the party, that it fights for human right violation. As a young lawyer in High Court, I was also known as a human right lawyer, not a mere lawyer appearing in labor matters, and that gave me a very important visibility. And thereafter, they are never looking back on that. I had been appearing in number of years. In 1983, I started individual practice, and I became a bar council member, Tamil Nadu bar council member. I was the youngest member, getting highest vote in the High Court. And later, I also became office bearer of the High Court Advocate Association. 88, I was sent out of the CPM
Okay.
because I had disagreement with the Indo-Sri Lankan agreement. So once I was expelled, I became became a public property. I am not a sectional person. I am available as a lawyer. So number of people used to approach me. Number of teachers, lawyers, workers, so many people. It is one such a meeting I went to Neyveli. It was not any party organization. The teachers in Neyveli wanted to invite me for a meeting. So only when I went to the meeting, I met this Parvati in that meeting. It was a mere accident. So I have been appearing in a number of human rights meetings with one condition: I don't collect any money from them. Any human rights case, no money. I will spend out of pocket.
Okay.
So many times I used to ask this lady, do you have money to go back? Have you eaten in the morning? Even for this girl, that you will see Surya buying some dress and all that. I had bought a dress for that girl also. Therefore, these are all humanitarian gesture, nothing big on this. But the director has brought all this into the picture to bring the real Chandru in those days.
ഓക്കെ സിനിമയിൽ സൂര്യ ചന്ദ്രുവായി വരുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ സാറിൻ്റെ ലൈഫാണ് സിനിമയിൽ കാണിക്കുന്നത്, അതിൽ ചന്ദ്രുവായിട്ട് കാണിക്കുന്നത്. സോ എത്രത്തോളം സിമിലാരിറ്റീസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു സിനിമയിലെ ചന്ദ്രുവും റിയൽ ലൈഫിലെ ചന്ദ്രുവായിട്ട് സാറിന് കണ്ടപ്പോൾ എന്ത് തോന്നി?
One can't make the real and real world same.
Yes.
There may be similarities, there may be some exception, but one can't exactly become the other. And the limitation of the director to bring in all characters may not be possible. So for the purpose of this character, he may add something, not to omit something. But in this case, the mannerism, beard, mush, long hair, casual dress, and as a lawyer wearing a striped pant, and then entering the court and in a different manner addressing the judge with confidence, all that they might have brought in. They never consulted me because they know I will not answer this question. They met some of my friends of that time. They met my wife, Bharati. So they took all the minor details. After a case, how will he come back? Will he be angry? How will be his mood when he is having a serious case? Where will he work in the house? All this comes. He sits and stitches the case paper. He types his own case. He had a small office.
Okay.
But then what is really brought out was that as a lawyer, I had two faces. As a leader of the bar, I used to lead number of struggles of the lawyers. I was undoubtedly the unquestionable leader of the lawyers at that time.
Okay.
After some time, I decided that this is counterproductive. When poor man's case coming, you close the court and say strike. Do we have a right to close a human right institution? Is the court meant for the litigants or for lawyers? This question came to me. I felt that it is meant for the litigants and not for lawyers. Suppose this case of Sengeni in court, I am striking outside, case is dismissed. What happened to the woman? So there is a scene, he is in the strike, among the striking lawyers. When the court time comes, he jumps over in a barricade and goes to court where the court and cow, argues a case. Then the lawyers are displaced. They are shouting black leg, betrayer. But he is not bothered. He goes argues normally. So how do you explain from this transformation from an agitator to a human right advocacy? When lawyers fight, when normally people fight, they wear a black badge. But lawyers are already having a black coat, black gown. How will they show the protest? You will see a white band. So when lawyers protest, they wear a white band. So the director has given a white band to Surya when he jumps the barricade to show that he is sympathetic to their demands. At the same time, his work as a lawyer is important. So he goes to the court. So this symbolic gesture of changing the barricade, jumping over. Somebody asked me, did you jump over the barricade? I said, I can even jump over a wall.
Okay.
So I did all this. So that is not the issue. That is only symbolic. One index. But the index was from a fighting lawyer to a fighting advocacy in the court was important. And that lawyer he shows. During 1993, I was not doing all this. That was my later phase. But the director wanted to show the Chandru there. This Chandru has metamorphosis of a evolution, taken a different stand on this very fight itself. I have also written judgments, attacking lawyers' strike, I have written articles. So this you want to show, like that children playing in the court. No court will allow. In my court I used to allow. That is only as a judge, not as a lawyer Chandru. But then Jnanavelu wants to do this. So when the court hall was created, the real High Court, nobody shown High Court proceedings, only lower court. Even when they want to show High Court, they will show the lower court. First time, the High Court, court number 3 was shown in a setting. So when pictures were mounted, I told them I want one small request. I have two mentors. One is Justice Krishna Iyer, the other one is Justice Satyadev. I want their pictures to be there. So the court hall was put their two pictures in the court hall. That was my way of paying respect to my mentors. So that is there. So if there is a change, that is not the pictures which are there in the court. But I said, why not you change the grammar? So that was my request, that was considered. So it is where there was some this way and that way, some position, but they are trying to recreate Chandru. But they took care to two things, not to add all the sub stories to make is a Superman. That's not there, which really happened. But all real things people may not believe, and it become very didactic and dilatory, and people may lose interest in the main case. So some of the sub stories were cut out. At the same time, they were also shown a lawyer in a very subdued way. Agitator, a communist worker fight is there, shouting slogans, leading lawyers. At the same time, very calm, composure is fighting. He is not worried about the big Advocate General appearing. At the time, I had only few years of experience, and the Advocate General is appearing in a 2 division bench matter. Some senior judges are sitting, but I had no problem. Because my own learning outside has given me determination to fight for the poor. So that is a change they have shown. So the lawyer Surya and lawyer Chandru, they can interchange the roles. In the sense, if you want to believe, when some of my old friends were asked, is there really show lawyer Chandru? They said yes. We were able to see only our old lawyer Chandru in this film. So to the extent the director has succeeded.
ലോക്ക്ഡൗൺ സമയത്ത് പോലീസ് അട്രോസിറ്റിയിൽ ഒരു അച്ഛനും മകനും തമിഴ്നാട്ടിൽ കൊല്ലപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നു. ശാസ്താംകുളം. ഓക്കെ. കേരളത്തിലും പല സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലായിട്ട് പലപ്പോഴായിട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞ 10 വർഷത്തിനിടയ്ക്ക് കസ്റ്റഡി മരണങ്ങൾ സംഭവിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ എന്നാൽ പോലും ഇതൊക്കെ പോലീസാണ് കസ്റ്റഡി മരണം നടത്തുന്നത്. അതായത് ജനങ്ങളെ പ്രൊട്ടക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട പോലീസാണ് ഈ കൊലപാതകങ്ങളൊക്കെ നടത്തുന്നത്. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ്? അതേപോലെ തന്നെ ഇതിൽ ഉൾപ്പെട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന കൊല്ലപ്പെടുന്ന ആളുകളിൽ കൂടുതൽ പേരും SC/ST വിഭാഗത്തിൽപ്പെട്ടവരാണ്. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് എല്ലായ്പ്പോഴും ഈ വിഭാഗത്തിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ മാത്രം കൊല്ലപ്പെടുന്നതും പോലീസ് ഇത്തരത്തിൽ കൊലപാതകളായിട്ട് മാറുന്നതും എന്തുകൊണ്ടായിരിക്കും?
To answer this question, you have to go back how the police force was created. For example, in Tamil Nadu, we are having the 1888 Madras City Police Act is a governing body. Now, when the police was raised by the British, they had only one rule: law and order. British government should be protected. The crime detection came much later. When the crime detection came, they were not used to any scientific method. It is only a barbaric method. So some tribes are made as a criminal tribe. If you are a part of the criminal tribe, every crime is committed by you only.
Okay.
And your names will be kept in the station. And when a crime takes place, all the criminal tribes should assemble in the station courtyard. The man who is missing is a criminal. No need for documents, no need for evidence, no need for court. The circle inspector will give the punishment to that man. So during the independence, there was a demand to withdraw the Criminal Tribes Act. They did not withdraw. Then the Congress government, and there was pressure from leftist parties, Communist Party, that this Criminal Tribe Act should go. So they withdrew the act, repealed the act. After repealment, how do you refer the people? De-notified tribe. They are originally notified tribe. Now they become de-notified tribe. DNT.
Okay.
They may be DNT, they may be taken out of law, but they are not taken out of the minds of the police. So even today, when a crime takes place, they look for members of the DNT. Act is gone, law is gone, but his psychology of believing these are the person who will commit crime. That is why in this film, even the beginning, they show some of the communities are shown as criminal tribes. And then they are made to stand apart. Even though they are coming out of jail, they are waiting to go again. This is the mindset of the police. In that process, when a theft takes place in the village, they put Raja Kanna, an innocent man, wanting to make him to accept the mistake, so that the crime is solved. And the loot they can share along with the pawnbroker. So this type of attitude continues. And that is why the movie is trying to establish that these people not only denied civic right, they are also hounded and haunted by the police. This goes on everywhere, not only here. So when you talk about Sathangulam murder of father and son, Benix and his father, the only difference is they are not tribes. They are a local backward community, but the town comprises of 95% of that community. So there were protests. There are huge write-up in the papers. In this Parvati's case, you have hardly find the last judgment was reported because it was a unique report. There was never any write-up. So an organized community can also defend itself better. So there were deaths, but then all the police were booked. A CBI inquiry is ordered. High Court is monitoring. Policemen were arrested immediately. In this case, till the last minute they were roaming around. So therefore, the change is that if you have a stake in the system, if you have a lobby, if you have a sizable presence, you may keep these people in check. May not altogether avoid loss. But here, that is not the case. One lawyer somewhere down, some accident, he is interested in human rights, and there is a sympathetic judge. That is why after seeing the film, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Stalin, said, if there is a honest officer and a spirited lawyer and a conscious judiciary, you can check some of these atrocities. That is true also. But then that is left to individuals. That is ad hoc. What is required is an organized human rights forum which can consistently fight for a basic human rights standards. Till such time, such thing can happen in Kerala or Madras or with the tribal or like the Sathangulam, everywhere it can happen. So that is a major thing which I want to emphasize, and all the film emphasize, an organization committed to defend the rights of the underdogs. That is essential.
Okay. സാറിൻ്റെ കരിയറിൽ ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് 96,000 ജഡ്ജ്മെൻറ്റ് സാർ നടത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. സോ മറ്റൊരു ജഡ്ജിക്കും ഇത് അവകാശപ്പെടാനില്ല. ഇത്രയും ജഡ്ജ്മെൻറ്റ് ഒരു ജഡ്ജി ആയിരിക്കുന്ന കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ നടത്തി എന്നുള്ളത് അവകാശപ്പെടാൻ പറ്റില്ല. സോ എങ്ങനെയാണ് സാറിന് ആ നേട്ടം കൈവരിക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്? ഈ അതായത് 96,000 കേസുകളുടെ
See,
ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റ്.
if you are committed to work for any institution, as a full-timer, as a student activist, as a lawyer, as a judge, I had worked same time, roughly about 18 hours per day. There is no change. Your place may vary. You are committed for a cause is more important. And therefore, once you become a judge and there is a 700,000 cases are pending, you have an obligation to do some justice. They are paying salary to you, they are giving you status. So you got to work. How to work? Innovate a new path. In fact, our Chief Justice Kapadia said, I expect judges to work like a horse, live like a hermit. So I work like a horse, live like a hermit. So the part of showing the property or avoiding silver maze, addressing my lords, avoiding bouquets, avoiding fruits, shawls, these are all external manifestations. This is something from a colonial government. You are switching over to a Swadeshi government. You must behave. I have seen EMS. I have seen A.K. Gopalan. EMS as chief minister, I went to receive him in the airport. He had no banda. All these protocols were not there. He just went in an ambassador car.
Okay.
So when this is there in your mind, you can't behave differently. The external manifestation is one aspect, that is a symbolic representation of a changeover, of a new system. But working hard when thousands of people waiting for justice, that you got to plan, which I did. I had a plan, I worked on all days, I also brought changes, grouped the matters, heard arguments were cut short, dictated orders in court. So there are several methods were found out for disposal. That is, when other judges praise you or not praise you or agree with you, they are not relevant. It's like a football team. It's a joint effort. But that does not prevent a halfback from hitting a goal.
Okay.
You need not all the time for a fast forward. You can also hit the goal. So I was doing that. Therefore, that is nothing issue. Disposal is something which expected to do. When somebody does some work, I can do a better work. That is what it has happened.
ജസ്റ്റ് ആഡ് ഓൺ ഒരു
Last.
റീസെൻറ്റ് ടൈംസിൽ ജുഡീഷ്യറിക്കെതിരെ ഒരുപാട് ആരോപണങ്ങൾ വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ജുഡീഷ്യറി സർക്കാരിന് ഫേവർ ആവുന്നു, അലിഗേഷൻസ് അഗെയിൻസ്റ്റ് ജുഡീഷ്യറി. ആസ് എ ജഡ്ജ് സാറിന് എന്താണ് ഇത്തരം അലിഗേഷൻസിനോട് തോന്നുന്നത്?
The answer to this question goes back to 1970 when EMS was Chief Minister in Kerala. He said that a judicial system cannot be superior to the economic system, and judiciary is always subordinate to the executive. So a contempt action was filed against him that he is criticizing the judiciary. Another Namboodiripad filed a case, and the Kerala High Court convicted EMS Namboodiripad with 1,000 rupees fine. And then he went to appeal. Supreme Court said EMS doesn't know Marxism. He is telling all wrong things. Judiciary can function. He doesn't know where he gets about Marx. So, but then they said he is only a full-time worker. So 1,000 rupees was reduced to 100 rupees. So EMS was punished for saying the same thing. After EMS, everybody says the same thing, that the judiciary is behaving as a second executive. There may be truth, there may not be truth. In an individual case, you may show that they were not fair. So, but there is a general criticism. To avoid that criticism, judiciary must prove that it can stand up against the executive government. Today, there is a bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories. And now assembly is dissolved. Now there is a case pending. There was a CPM MLA who was detained under the Kashmir Security Act. Sitaram Yechury want to see him. They say, no, you can't see him. Then finally he filed a case in Supreme Court and go see him. Does it mean to see one friend, you will have to get permission from Supreme Court? All right, Sitaram Yechury see him. Now they say you produce the Tarigami to the Supreme Court. They say, no, he won't be produced. Finally, The bifurcation of Kashmir case is pending in Supreme Court for the last 3.5 years. Nobody has heard the case. Some important case, Citizenship Amendment Act pending, Agricultural Law Act pending. Who is hearing all these cases? If you don't do timely justice, it is also meaning that you are supporting the status quo. Not outwardly, that is what your behavior shows. That is why I am saying there is always people's expectation and there is a performance, there is a gap. Until judiciary tries to minimize the gap, people will only think that this judiciary is not independent. EMS said and punished. Today we can say that and nobody will punish you because that is the truth.
സോ ഇത്രയും സമയം ഡൂൾ ന്യൂസിൻ്റെ പ്രേക്ഷകരുമായിട്ട് സംസാരിച്ചതിന് താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you.
വേഗത്തിലുള്ള വാർത്തകൾ,
സമഗ്രമായ വാർത്താ വിശകലനങ്ങൾ,
ലേഖനങ്ങൾ, അഭിമുഖങ്ങൾ,
പ്രതികരണങ്ങൾ,
ആഴത്തിലുള്ള റിപ്പോർട്ടുകൾ.
ആദിവാസിയായ കൊണ്ട്
ഒന്നൊരു ശവങ്ങൾ
ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടാണ്.
ഞെട്ടിക്കുന്ന യാഥാർത്ഥ്യമാണ്.
സിറിഞ്ചിനകത്ത് വെള്ളം കൊണ്ടിട്ട് മോന്തയ്ക്കടി കത്തി വെച്ച് കുത്താനും
നായ്ക്കളെ പോലെയാണ് ഞങ്ങളെ സ്ഥിതി.
ഒരിറ്റു കുടിവെള്ളത്തിനായി
പുതിയ ഏടായി മാറി
അവർ അംബേദ്കറിന്റെ പാതയിൽ.
പിന്നെ നാം പാടണം.
വീണ്ടും ഒരു ജാതി കൊലപാതകം
അനുഭവിക്കുന്നവർക്ക്
ഇഞ്ചർത്താത്ത
നീതിയിലധിഷ്ഠിതമായ നിലപാടുകൾ,
വസ്തുതകളിലൂന്നിയ വിശദീകരണങ്ങൾ, വൈവിധ്യമാർന്ന പ്രോഗ്രാമുകൾ. ജനാധിപത്യത്തിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള മാധ്യമ ഇടപെടലുകൾക്കായി നിങ്ങളുടെ പിന്തുണ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ആവശ്യമുണ്ട്.
ഡൂൾ ന്യൂസ് വെബ്സൈറ്റിലുള്ള 5 വ്യത്യസ്ത സ്കീമുകൾ വഴി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഞങ്ങളെ സാമ്പത്തികമായി പിന്തുണയ്ക്കാം.
മഹാമാരിയുടെയും രാഷ്ട്രീയ പ്രതിസന്ധികളുടെയും കാലത്ത് നേരിനൊപ്പം നിൽക്കാൻ നിങ്ങൾ കൂടെ ഉണ്ടാകുമല്ലോ.